What's shaking, my North County fam? I'm your girl Kelly, here to give you the rundown on what happened in St. Louis County government this week, and here is what you need to know. So first and foremost, St. Louis County Executive Sam Page, his office has gotten a squad together to engage the community about all things related to ARPA, aka the American Rescue Plan Act. So, a couple questions. So who is this squad? So you got Stephanie Lewis, newly appointed Chief Transformation Officer for St. Louis County, Vita Jeffrey, Chief Diversity Officer for St. Louis County, and Ethel Bindum, who serves as the Director for the Office of Community Engagement in St. Louis County. And what is this community engagement plan, right? How will they engage the community? So there will be several town halls occurring throughout St. Louis County to get engaged folks about all things ARPA related, and also to get their feedback, right, about how these dollars should be spent. And also there will be a survey launched today, Friday, February 25th, to allow St. Louis County residents to weigh in again on how this coin should be spent. So y'all, please, I'll be sure to keep you updated on this, but if you have yet to do so, go ahead, follow us at 314-EVOLVE. We are actively involved in our Closed Mouths Don't Get Fed campaign, which really is making sure that the community members really have a say in how this funding should be spent. So, yeah, to be continued. Speaking of ARPA, the next thing you need to know. So there were quite a few, like 7 department requests made to spend ARPA funding. So this was discussed during this past week's Committee of the Whole meeting, and the council members that were present, basically they reviewed the requests and also discussed if collectively, like, they would support these budget requests using ARPA coin. And something I want to mention now, even though they talked about whether they would collectively move on drafting legislation after they approved some of these requests, even if they didn't approve with their consensus, it still doesn't mean that an individual council member couldn't still pick up the budget request and move forward with drafting legislation to appropriate that funding. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind. So like I said, there were 7 departments with these requests. So what are we talking about? So the first was the IT department. They requested $1.26 million to build out their customer service initiative, and the council, they're in support of that. The Department of Administration requested $191,000 for 2 positions to support the maintenance of this, customer service initiative being developed by the IT department, and the council, they were in support of that request as well. Next, you got the county council's office. They requested $420,000 to hire 2 new attorneys, 2 new paralegals, and 1 investigator. No, the county council ain't checking for this request. Next, you have the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership. They requested $557,000 to hire 3 new positions. Also, they want the funding to support a small business portal and also to provide small business grants. The council, they not checking for that request. Next up, we have the health department. They requested a total of $2.7 million. For the following. So $2 million for contracted comorbidities care staff. So the council said we need some more information about how many staff you're talking about before we approve of this or recommend it for approval. $400,000 was requested for communications consultant, which, the council ain't checking for that. $153,000 for Salesforce software. The council was in support of that. $100,000 for transportation for health department clients. The council's in support of that. $87,000 for corrections medicine COVID coordinator. The council is in support of that. $10,000 for PPE for staff. Of course, the council is in support of that. And $10,000 for Narcan purchasing, which the council is definitely in support of. Next up, the municipal courts. So they requested a total of $807,000 to handle the court backlog as well as to transform their departments. And this coin will be used to hire 13 new clerks, 2 new judges, and it will also include a salary increase for judges. So holistically, overall, again, the council, they did not support this. However, Councilwoman Webb said that she was in support of this, so she will move forward with drafting legislation to get that budget request formally approved. And lastly, but certainly not least, the prosecuting attorney's office requested $2.1 million to hire 15 new attorneys and 15 new secretaries to support their efforts. So the council, they did not approve of this request as it was written. However, they're open to having continued dialogue with the prosecuting attorney's office to figure out, to come to a happy medium, because they in good conscience said they can't hire 30 new staff because, ARPA funding is going to be around for a couple years. So once that funding, dries up and is done, how will these 30 new staff people, how will they get paid? Because the county ain't got it. So they're open to, again, having the conversations to negotiate maybe another number, because they say, yeah, I'm sure that they do need more staff to handle that backlog, but 30 new folks, ain't happening. So y'all, of the $8 million that was requested in ARPA coin, the consensus was in support of spending about $1.8 million. And again, this is obviously definitely in flux, as more conversations and negotiations will be had to come to some resolve with these requests. So to be continued, y'all. The next thing y'all need to know, child, there was a discussion of allegations of ethical violations by St. Louis County staff. So this discussion occurred during the county council's ethics committee meeting. So what are we talking about here? So Jane Duker, she is a St. Louis County resident and a vocal critic of Sam Page, her words. And she filed a complaint with the ethics committee after she was forwarded a questionable email exchange. And now she said, look, people know that she don't check for the county executive and how she moves. People know when she gets stuff that things happen. And some people may not feel comfortable moving forward with filing complaints. And she said, look, I'm here for the smoke. So that's why she was provided this exchange, forwarded it. And so the exchange, this email starts with Rebecca Zoll, who serves as the president and CEO of North County Inc. She emailed Councilwoman Dazen Webb, as well as folks in the health department, specifically Dr. Khan, who's the acting director, Rochelle Walton-Gray, who serves as the COVID-19 vaccine community outreach coordinator, and Damon Broadus, who serves as the director of health promotion. So Rebecca Zoll emailed these folks inquiring about getting more COVID tests up in North County. And y'all know this was when the Omicron was out here just wreaking havoc and just getting any type of a test. I mean, it was real out here in these streets. So she was reaching out to them saying, hey, y'all, how can we get more of these COVID tests and COVID testing in North County? So Mr. Broadus apparently replies to Rebecca Zoll saying, hey, here's a link, here's some information about some resources related to COVID, yada, yada, yada. And lo and behold, the link was to County Executive Sam Page's campaign website. Duker also mentioned that when he followed up with this link to respond to Zoll, that the councilwomen were left off. So Duker brought this up to the ethics committee attention because she feels that this is a misappropriation of taxpayers' coins and beyond inappropriate, because in her eyes, it looks like the health department is pretty much campaigning for Sam Page. So there was a statement released that said, hey, the link, it was sent out by mistake. And all of those folks, so Mr. Broadus, Rochelle Gray, and Dr. Khan, they were invited to attend this meeting to discuss the matter. And Dr. Khan replied on their behalf saying that he could speak to the situation, but that he was booked and busy this week and that he wouldn't be able to attend this meeting. So what's next? So the IG department will be on the case, looking into seeing if the sending of that link was a one-time thing or if it's been sent out repeatedly. Also, they want to figure out if Broadus was appointed by County Executive Sam Page, Also, Broadus and Gray will all be asked to appear before the Ethics Committee. Councilman Fitch, he even asked the county councilor's office if the committee has the authority to issue subpoenas. And so the county councilor's office, they'll look into that for the committee. So, yes, to be continued on this, I'm sure. And then the last thing, y'all, the legislative corner. So there is a bill passed appropriating $6 million from the Convention and Recreation Trust Fund for ball fields in Hazelwood. So I spoke about this, I don't know how long ago, maybe weeks ago, as this is part of the redevelopment of the Old Mills Mall into a youth amateur sports facility called the PowerPlex. So yes, the council, they did approve this. The only no vote was Councilman Tracus. That's all I have for y'all this week. Please stay safe out there. You'll see me soon. Peace.